friends at Tivoli Brewing Company and the Department of Communication Arts and Sciences at MSU Denver, this is Unfiltered. And here are your hosts, Jay Schrader and Dr. Samuel J.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Jay, we are going to slow roll that intro into where are we today?
Comrade Brewing.
Yeah, cheers, Comrade
Cheers.
Brewing. Get in there, dude.
Are we technically in Denver or
Yeah,
Aurora?
Well, we don't want to associate ourselves with Aurora, but we have a Denver address.
Denver address. There it is. Just got to be on the safe side.
But somehow not in Denver.
Okay, give us the address and give us the hours because we
All right,
want people to come drink your beer.
7667 East Iliff Avenue. It's just 2 miles east of I-25 in Evans, exit 203.
Boom.
And we are open at noon every single day.
That is the best set of hours I think I've ever heard.
It's perfect.
Other than somebody that opens at 11.
It's crazy close to Cherry Creek. I've realized that. Like, it's a
Super
really
close.
quick jaunt.
We didn't even intro our guest.
Who are we here with?
My name is David Lin, and I'm the founder here at Comrade Brewing.
You
Founder, owner,
Yep.
head comrade in arms, comrade and head comrade.
Kind of sit in the office a lot lately, but
Yeah.
Do you like that? Do you like being the officer? You sound very depressed right now.
brewing's a lot of fun, and I've been out of brewing for a while, but I like the business part too.
First things first, how'd you come up with the name? Because myself being a good Marxist, right, a good liberal college professor, I've got to ask, how'd you come up with the name?
So I spent a couple years kind of coming up with different brands and kind of like themes and stuff. And a lot of one of the things that keeps on coming back is just the camaraderie in the brewing industry. I think the most famous example would be the collaboration, not litigation, with Avery and that one in
No,
California. I can't remember.
Avery and
Lost Abbey or something, or Russian River,
something like that.
something like that.
Wait, what,
yeah.
no, what are we missing? Sorry,
I don't know.
Jay was pointing at me and telling me.
I'm
what
not
do you,
following.
You don't have to say, don't talk. Like, what do you want me to do? What's
Just
this?
turn the volume down,
Oh,
on
down.
my
Okay.
headset.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
that might be the
it better?
residuals from yesterday.
Yeah. Is it good? Is your head hurting
This
a
is
little
a
bit,
little
Jay?
better. Yeah.
Okay.
It's piercing.
Dave, can you repeat what you just said so I can respond
So
to that? 'Cause
sorry.
it
Sure.
sounded very interesting.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so spent a couple years thinking about brands, different concepts, kind of themes to open up my own brewery with. And one of the things that keeps on coming up is always the camaraderie in the brewing industry,
Okay.
making collab beers, helping each other out. Just such a close knit community.
Yeah.
It's a little tough to spell, too many syllables, so you just kind of had to shorten it down.
That makes total
And there you
sense.
go.
Boom.
And it works too.
This
I hope so.
But then we took it the Marxist.
I did, yeah.
route.
We went that route. It's
Well,
all
not
about-
you. I mean,
no.
David did. I love the.
Well,
love
so-
the,
so
I want
those-
to call it a flag. I guess maybe it's not a flag, just a logo. But
Yeah, well, funny enough, the brewmaster here, his name is Marks.
shit.
So
Are you serious?
it's like there's more than one.
did you do that on
is-
purpose?
No, I just happened to. I used to work for him years ago.
I feel like when we
Work for him.
when we asked for that tour at the end of the interview, if there's like a massive sickle in the back, we will.
Well,
we
what
will
do they
know.
call the hats? A babushka? Is that what that is?
Dude, I
Or is
don't
that just a made-up Russian word?
know. I don't know. Do you know?
I have no idea.
Don't worry about it.
All right, Dave.
No sweat.
You go by David or Dave?
Go by Bo, whichever one. I don't
Which
care.
one do you like? What does your wife call you? Other than asshole.
You don't want to know what my wife's
Oh.
called. You don't want to know what my wife calls me.
Yeah, this guy fits right in.
He does. He does.
Dude,
Yes.
I guess we know who to sub in when I can't make
I know.
it to the
I
next
gotta,
interview.
I got to get my notepad out and make sure I'm cutting plenty of this stuff. In case
We
our
talk about
listen.
wives a lot. They don't ever hear about it,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Okay, so your background. I got a little bit of it before Jay got here, but what is it in terms of brewing and how you got into it?
I started brewing in 05.
Okay.
Small little town in West Texas called Lubbock. It was the only brewery in town, and it was a 15-barrel brew pub, and started there.
So you
Lubbock
were-
is. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Home of Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, Red Raiders.
So you were like, did you just get a job at this restaurant doing other shit, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna make beer." Or they made beer, or was it, "I want to work here because they make beer"?
I was there. I'm a Red Raider, so that's my undergrad.
What do they
and
do? Is this it?
yeah, the guns up.
for the
Do
camera.
your-
There we go.
You got to do it with both hands, though.
Both
Gun,
hands.
guns up.
There we go.
So
There we go.
I have true confession here.
Okay.
Ex-coworker from many years ago that was a former Red Raider.
This is why it's called unfiltered, by the way. 'cause
Yeah,
we don't have
yeah. Not
talking points.
not
but
ugly, not ugly,
She was.
not ugly at all.
what does that mean, former Red Raider?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was a grad, right?
Always.
She's an alum. Excuse, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
But it's a Red Raider for
Dude,
life.
I'm pretty sure she fell off the earth after
Oh, okay.
she changed jobs. I don't think she exists anymore. She might not even existed in the past,
I'm sorry, Jay.
but she was a Red Raider at Rit.
You sound really sad. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm
Wanna
gonna
talk
make
it
it. I'm
through,
gonna make it.
David?
It's bringing a tear. It's bringing a tear. But my point is, if this particular Red Raider was anything like,
That particular
yeah,
Red Raider.
yeah, if Lubbock was always like this,
Yeah.
you were in the right place.
Okay.
I'm guessing. It seems like you were in a good place.
Yeah, I think that's good timing for sure.
So will you answer my question since he just derailed it? Did
Yeah.
you go there because they were making beer, or did you start making beer when you were there?
I think, like most everybody else, you start out home brewing and befriending the brewer there. I mean, it was pretty easy when there's only one brewery and the next brewery maybe, I don't know, 60 plus miles away back then. So befriended it, and the brewmaster, who's the brewmaster here now, and his assistant graduated and moved to Germany and left and had an opening, so I took
Yeah.
it.
You picked up on that. I caught it earlier.
So the brewmaster at this place in Lubbock
Is
is here with
now
you
the
now?
brewmaster
Yeah, now-
here.
Yeah, the apprentice has become the master.
Thank you. I was going there, man.
Oh
Stole my
my.
line. The guy is good. The guy is good.
So did he go with you to what was the other job now then, since you moved here, since I know that? So what was your
Oh, I took a real job for about 4 years.
Okay.
So we've always just kept in touch. He continued to brew on in 2 or 3 other states for another 3 or 4 breweries. I just got tired of my corporate gig, and I just needed a change of pace. But I'll tell you, I was working 50, 60 hours a week at my real job, and my nights and weekends was working for Grand Teton. So you'd see me on the weekends pouring up in Summit County and hand selling beers in the Denver metro too. So
Nice.
I just needed to get a change of pace outside of the corporate stuff. So
What was the corporate role that really pushed you over the edge and,
Yeah.
and said, let's go brew full time?
so I was a food service director for the largest contract food service company in the world.
So
And
start with an
you're just one
S.
peon in
Yeah.
what, Sodexo?
Ah,
No, they're
Oh.
smaller than them.
Cisco.
so, wait,
No,
yeah,
Sodexo. Airmark's by the other one.
Okay.
Both smaller.
You don't have to tell us. It's all right.
it's totally
Well, there's
fine.
only one more bigger than them, so it can't be that hard to figure out. But
We're not that smart. You might be, but
Nor
we're
that
not.
functional
it's
right
it's a company called Compass Group. So
Okay. All right.
and yeah, I just really want to get in the brewing gig, and after 4 years, I was just like, I need a change of pace. Kind of just left and got hired on at Dry Dock as one of their brewers in 2010.
Nice.
So at that point, did the guy from Lubbock come with you to Dry Dock, or
Oh no, he was just brewing. He was up in at Grand Teton Brewing Company brewing
Okay.
over there. I was brewing in Dry Dock, and we just kept in touch and still just kind of keep this project going, keep this dream alive.
what's his name, by the way?
Mark's Lanham.
Mark's Lanham. Shout out to where is he? Is he in the back somewhere?
He's probably just drinking beer.
Should
He's
get him
probably
over
not
here.
working.
No, we should get him over here whenever we need our next beer.
Yeah.
Get him over here. Let's ask some questions. But okay, so at what point, I guess, in your life did you go, I want to make beer? Like, was it? Okay, you said you were homebrewing. Were you homebrewing when you were in college? Like, we were.
Yeah. So I was homebrewing like 2003, 2004, and then when I started brewing in 2005, really enjoyed it. And then after I left my corporate gig and got into Dry Dock while they were still in their early entrepreneurial phases, it was just like a huge breath of fresh air. I was like, you know what, this is brewing's for me. This corporate thing's not my thing anymore. So
Your jam.
The interesting thing, though, that strikes me is that while you were in a corporate role, you were still in the food and beverage space from the sound of it. Maybe from a business and I don't want to say corporate level, but I mean, you were obviously working on the business end of things, and you already alluded to the fact that the business side of the game still is entertaining and keeps you happy and busy. I mean,
Yeah.
you never left food and beverage is kind of what I'm getting at. I mean,
I just left the food part because food service sucks.
never worked in food service, never will. I mean, I feed my kids every once in a while, but
How integral was that background in the success that you've had? Like knowing, I guess let's set this up. Sometimes you talk to people who, you talk to businesses that are run by brewers, and sometimes if they're straight brewers, it doesn't necessarily work out. They don't have that business kind of mindset, but the most successful ones tend to have, somebody who can put together a business plan. And so, yeah, I mean, was that background integral to this?
Yeah, for sure. The company definitely provided a lot of training, and it helps out when it comes to managing people and keeping staff happy. And when you have happy staff, it helps make happy customers.
Yeah, I would imagine. So how did you end up landing this spot?
So I started looking in 2013, and it was kind of things were heating up back then, but it seriously did not matter. I looked from, I think, Highlands Ranch to Arvada and everywhere in between then. I saw 36 properties and looked at, this is our backup space. We had 2 spaces that we were looking at, and just couldn't see eye to eye with the landlord on the space, and kind of ended up here.
Okay.
in a bit of a beer desert, really, for at least a little while, I would say, right? I mean,
yeah, it's still, still kind of like that. Next closest brewery is going to be Copper Kettle, and they're about 2.5 miles away, I think.
Okay.
So nothing else has really opened up in this area. So
yeah, moving east for sure. I can't think of anything that's a proper brewery.
No, I mean, what's the closest that way? Is it
Dry Dock's the
it
only
Dry
one I
Dock?
can think
Yeah.
of. I guess you
Dry
got
Dock's like almost 6 miles away.
Peak to Peak is
Peak to
way
Peak's like
out
5.5 miles.
Yeah. So no, I think you're in a good spot. Who came first, you or Jeremy over at Copper Kettle?
Jeremy opened up before I did. In fact, when I was at Brewing at Dry Dock, I remember Jeremy coming in and needing yeast because going back to that camaraderie. So I was brewing at Dry Dock back then, and he'd come by and it's like, hey, we need a little bit of yeast. Can you help us out? And so yeah, we did. We'd hook him up with yeast too. So
That's awesome.
So where do you get your yeast?
we get it from a company called BSI in
BSI,
Woodland Park, and kind of been using those guys for a really long time.
For a long time.
And occasionally Dry Dock or Copper Kettle when shit gets real,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gotten some pitches from Dry Dock for lager yeast.
Okay.
We've gotten it. We get yeast from Platt Park. We give away probably more yeast than we take in, but it just goes back to that camaraderie. You just gotta help each other out because it's a tough game, and the big boys are the real competition.
Right. Everybody's got to keep each other alive, right? Platt Park too, going back to the beer desert, right? Moving west, that's got to be the first brewery you hit between here and Wash Park.
Just,
I guess.
Just go to Evans.
Yeah, that's going to be the next one for sure.
That and then deck. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. R.I.P. to Fermantra. So they
We
just shuttered earlier this year. So.
Had that conversation on Tuesday. Actually, was sitting there at Illegal Pete's, staring out across the street. It's becoming a freaking hookah lounge. Like, we need another one of those.
Those DU students want that. They don't like good beer.
Apparently.
They want their Yingling.
Campus lounge and a hookah bar. Whatever.
That's very true. Okay, so you're here. So in this spot, can you tell like the demographics of the people who come in here and drink the beer? Are they folks who are commuting from a few miles away, or are they kind of across the street? What have you noticed?
Definitely a lot of locals.
Okay.
We got two fairly large apartment complexes like behind the building, and we got a lot of that. And like you said, if the next closest brewery is 3 miles away, 2.5 miles away, I mean, you'll want to go to the one that's closer to you.
Yeah. It makes
So
total sense.
kind of keep it local, and we'll be able to kind of like take care of this little area here.
So how do you make that how do you get the people to just be aware of where you are and everything? Like, is there enough of a craft beer drinker kind of audience to sustain business, or like how do you do the outreach stuff and get people in here?
We got super lucky our first year. It was brand new. Where maybe another 40-something other breweries opened up in 2014, and it was tough. We were struggling, and then we just had a really lucky break with the Denver Post.
Okay.
I had a little article that ended up in the newspaper. I don't know if anyone still reads those things today, but it was kind of a big deal back in 2014, and got a little got a little piece written up about us, maybe having the best IPA in the state, and since then it's kind of taken off. So it's been, a huge break in the beginning, and then a lot of word of mouth after that.
So you said that you like to focus on the IPAs, and you consider yourself an IPA, bar or a brewery. What, I guess, tell us a little bit about the IPAs that you're making. What kind of hops are you putting in there, and what's your philosophy about that style?
Well, Mark's is probably the better person to ask. But the philosophy, I think, with just all of our beers, we're brewing beers that we like to drink.
Okay.
And so you'll see us here drinking our own dog food like all the time. So we believe in the product, and we're looking for something drinkable. I would say they're probably contemporary takes on American styles.
Okay.
And the fruited sours, barrel age, wild. Trying to think of what other ones are out there. There's other breweries making that better than we can, and we'll let them focus on that, and we'll just make beers that we want to drink. So
you're not making a hazy?
We've made one. And we usually just drink the clear stuff anyways. So
I was going to say, did you see the hat behind the bar, Sam?
I know, I did.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Make IPA clear again.
Yeah, that's a
really
great one
good
with that's a really great one. It was a collaboration with La Cumbre down in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And kind of worked on the grain bill on that, and we brewed it up here, we brewed it down there, and they ended up packaging it up and sending it up in cans. Ordered some hats and sold them here. They ordered like 500 something hats, and a lot of people got really angry down in Albuquerque, and they had to stop selling them. So I just told them, just come on by and bring up the rest of them, and we'll sell the Make IPA Clear Again hats here.
Are you selling them?
Oh yeah, I've already had to do a couple of reorders just because they fly really fast.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's a funny fucking hat.
It's a hilarious hat. What's going on in Albuquerque? No sense of humor down there.
I mean, did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Make IPA blue again? I don't know what to say.
Exactly.
Like, I'm lost here. It doesn't make any sense. No, David.
He's
go.
the guest.
Yeah.
So you want to philosophy of IPAs? We like to keep the malt bill pretty simple.
Okay.
Kind of keep the caramel malt really low as well, and then just dry hop the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Put a lot of hops in it. We're using a lot of those proprietary varieties, the ones that everyone's are looking for. Your Citra, your Simcoe, your Mosaics, your Galaxies, and so kind of keep them just dry and drinkable, and really balance bitterness. And yeah.
How much are you involved in the process of just tasting and seeing whether? How much is your palate, I guess, a part of what the decision making?
I really don't have much feedback, except I do have some requests for for beers that that maybe I'd like to have made.
Mm-hmm.
But you talk about the business aspect of it, and I think the important part is when you're a brewer and you're also running a business, I think you can make really good beer, or you can run a really good business, and you have to pick one. Okay. So I really focus on the business part, and Mark's is a super talented brewer, and I just trust him. I just pay for everything, and it's like, all right, cool, let's. I got all the raw materials, and then just let him do what he wants back there. So
stay in your lane, right?
Yeah.
David pays for it. Mark's brews the beer. Now let's talk for a second, because this is an interesting thought to me that I had coming in here. But good female friend and colleague who she and her husband are big beer drinkers, and they think that probably the single best beer in the world is Pliny the Elder.
Mm-hmm.
And they are convinced that your IPA is the closest thing they've ever come across to Pliny the Elder.
Wow.
And this particular woman, Lisa Spatafor, name drop, she doesn't listen, so it doesn't matter, goes out of her way to drive all the way down here from like 140th and I-25 on a regular basis to buy beer from you guys. So what does that tell you about customer satisfaction?
That's really flattering to hear that they're comparing our beer with Pliny. That's a great beer, and that's always kind of been the original, the gold standard for what what an IPA should be. That's awesome to make all the drive all the way down here. There's plenty of other bars like Fallen Rock. always has Superpower on tap. Guess what? You can go over there. You can order a Superpower. You can order a Russian River Blind Pig and a Pliny the Elder, and just do a side by side and kind of check it out for yourself.
I was actually in my head thinking I need to do that. Like
We
tomorrow.
should, actually.
Yeah, I may go do that
no,
tomorrow.
tomorrow's a dry day.
Do they have Blind Pig on right now?
I
was there
think
yesterday.
I think Falling Rock usually always has Blind Pig on.
I didn't see it the other day, but that doesn't.
Yeah, fuck, Jay, you don't know.
I don't
You
zone
don't
in
drink.
on.
Yeah, you don't drink
I don't
IPAs.
zone in on the IPA list.
Okay, so
I like Pliny the Elder. Don't get me wrong. I should go for a Superpower next.
You should give
Yeah.
it a shot. I would like that actually.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that.
Make IPA clear again.
Okay, so frank question: how hard is it for you to get out of the brewing part of the business? Did you like? At what point you're like, okay, I'm gonna back out and I'm gonna do something else, or I guess even before this thing happened and you were in Lubbock, like, at what point I guess does a person like you decide there's somebody else who does this better? I want to hire that person or collaborate with them.
I think that was right away. You
Okay.
gotta surround yourself with people more talented than yourself, and I knew that I'll never be as good of as a brewer as he is, and so let him do the brewing, and I can run the business better than he can. So we just kind of focus on our strengths, and we both get to drink beer at the end of the day.
But how does somebody start a brewery without wanting to run the brewing?
Well, I think you just gotta realize that what we're doing here, and for everybody that starts a brewery, it's a business.
Yeah.
My landlord only takes payment in U.S. dollars.
Not Superpower. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean they're not gonna beer trade me.
Yeah.
So it's you gotta have amazing staff here. You gotta take care of them, and so manage people. That's just part of it. If I wanted to make beer, I could definitely do that, at home on my own time.
Yeah.
But I got someone else making it for me, so that's even better.
The most successful breweries I think we've been into over the last 6 months, and we recognize this early on, are the breweries that there's a guy that runs the show, and
There's a leader.
there's a guy that runs the beer. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a leader, and the brewer can be the leader, but
Yeah.
there's still got
Yeah.
to be somebody that's got access to the checkbook.
Yeah.
And the decision making from a business perspective. So, and obviously, you're not in a bad location here, but you were in kind of a remote spot for a while, and I think the city's grown up around you a lot just in the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But kudos to you, because you wouldn't still be here if your management style and your ability to run a good fucking brewery wasn't shining through a little
Sure.
bit. So, I mean, the
thank you.
juice is still damn good, but it takes two.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so tell us about. Are you distributing? What's going on? Like, how many? Actually, first off, how many barrels a year?
Last year we did 1429.
Okay.
So we do draft only, and most of our beers are just in the Denver area. We maybe got 1 or 2 accounts up in Boulder. Maybe we got maybe 1 or 2 in Evergreen. I think one account up in Fort Collins drives down and comes pick up their beers. And then we got another, 35 or 40 just, downtown Denver, and kind of like, a little bit of Wheat Ridge, a little bit of Highlands Ranch, Littleton, Englewood, Centennial. So
Are you out there trying to do the? Are you the one who's out there trying to get these accounts, or do you have a salesperson?
Nope, I got a sales guy, Jake. He's kind of
Jake.
like Jake Lancaster, yeah.
Oh, Jake.
He's kind of jack of all trades. He does it all. He fills kegs, he delivers kegs, he opens up new accounts, he takes care of all of our wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a one man department back there, and he does a job of, he's got many hats for sure.
What's the pitch when he goes in and tries to get a bar? Like,
I don't know. I haven't gone on a ride along. with him.
along,
Dude, that is trust.
Yeah, that is.
That's crazy
But
good. I mean, it's obviously working.
which part of town is drinking the most beer?
Oh,
Let me see. I would say, our biggest account is probably like the Park Burger Company. So they got,
nice.
your 5 or 6 Park Burgers, plus your Bird Call chicken sandwiches, plus the homegrown Tap and Doughs.
Oh, nice.
So they're all kind of like in that area.
nice.
and are they drinking the IPA? What are they drinking?
Yep, a lot of it's our flagship. It's our Superpower IPA.
Yeah.
Not to belittle any of the other beers, because I don't know what you're having, Sam, but I'm having the Red Con. I'm a big fan of Irish Reds, and this one's fucking good.
Yeah.
2018 GABF bronze medal winner.
Yep.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
For that.
Yeah,
Wow.
going for gold in 2019.
I don't know what we're doing yet.
Okay.
I don't remember. There's a
Dude, it's late in the week. I'm sorry. I don't
It's
usually
Thursday,
Yeah,
too.
I don't usually use dude in the interviews a whole lot either, but I guess that's the kind of week we've been having.
yeah. I think we sat down and talked about it like a couple weeks ago, but I don't remember. So a lot of these things you just it's in the email. I can just forget this info and then we'll just I'll just reference it later when I actually need the info.
You do the iPhone search just to pull it back up. Thank God for that
Exactly.
little bar at the top of the iPhone.
So everything is kind of draft. I'm sure a lot of it's kind of over the bar here and everything. Before we talk about future, what kind of are you doing a lot of food trucks here? Are you doing a lot of collabs with in terms of food in the area? What are you doing for keeping people happy, drunk and full?
Yeah, so we have menus a place that'll deliver. I mean, just in this shopping center alone, there's 7 restaurants they could walk to within a quarter mile. And so we do have food trucks that pull up. I think maybe 5 days a week, 6 days a week. It'll kind of no one really wants to be standing in their food truck in the dead of winter, so it kind of slows down a little bit in the winter time. But try to get at least 5 to 7 days a week. Or just bring your own food.
Ooh, makes total sense.
Dude, I could totally bring Chinese.
Who's your favorite?
I said dude again.
What's your favorite food truck?
Food truck. It's probably, I think at the end of the week, it's our Friday guy, the Wing Wagon Grill. He just does, you had a long week. You just want to have some beers. You want some wings. You want some burgers. You want some fries. You just want that junk food. Not junk food, but just like good bar food to
that's
wash it
junk
down
food.
with beer.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Fridays, what do they call that? Friday's a free day?
Yeah. It's a cheat day.
Cheat
Yeah,
day.
cheat
It's a
day,
cheat
yeah.
day. Cheat
It's a
day.
cheat day.
Every day's a cheat day at my house, so at least on my diet.
Oh, that's fucking funny. So what are you thinking 5 years down the road? Like, is it the same thing? Are we canning? Are we just
we're just gonna kind of continue and do our own little thing here. We've packaged for other breweries. Mark's was brewing at a large, almost regional size packaging brewery. Dry Dock was just kicking off their packaging when I was just shortly after I started there, and it's a lot more fun to kind of just hang around and drink beer instead of putting glasses or putting cans into boxes and stacking boxes and wrapping pallets. Right? That sounds really boring. I mean, I'm already falling asleep just talking about it. So we're doing this to have fun, and so if we're not having fun, then let's not do it.
First person who's been that candid with us about that question. So let me ask you, are you a local bar owner or are you a big-time brewery owner? Because I think the fact that candor is so nice to hear that,
I think local. Yeah, it's kind of a local meeting space.
Yeah.
So that just happens to have only Comrade beer on.
That's my favorite. I get super excited about local
yes.
watering holes.
All right, so keep
does-
drinking that beer then. Let's keep going on this.
Hang-
Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. So kind of playing devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I do drive across Evans quite a bit, back and forth,
Yeah.
and have once upon a time enjoyed a slice or two at the former Woody's Pizza right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I could see this brewery morphing into that space very easily. I mean, that may not be in your plan. It may not be possible, but damn, Comrade Brewing in its own destination, single building. You double or triple your production size. You've got room for a shit ton more people. You don't have to make food on site necessarily, but I mean,
Well, I think that place has a kitchen because I used to go there for their specials and their buffet specials when they open. But
the $2.50 lunch buffet with
exactly
pizza and cockroaches.
Yeah. I went for the $1 burger on Wednesdays, or sorry, $5 burgers. That's what they used to have
That
there.
reminds me. Never mind.
So,
Trying to-
as long as there's no food, like sure. But
Sure.
There's I
It
believe
never
there's a
crossed your
kitchen.
mind.
There's a hood in there. I know what I'll tell you right now. I will never do food service ever again.
Okay, that's
You
fine.
could pay me $1 million a year. I'm never doing food service again.
Why?
But is
Why?
Have you done it? Why don't you try it? Why don't you do it for 4 years?
No, I have.
Yeah.
I have. But I mean, it's just. Is it the buying? Is it the people? Like, what is it? Is the customer?
Yeah, people just get
All of
really,
it.
like people are very particular about food, and I don't know.
I know what I'm like when I order food. So yeah, I mean, and that's not got anything to do with people that work in the industry.
It's a super tough industry. I mean, razor thin margins. A lot of restaurants close down within the first few years, and you know what? I mean, I'd rather drink beer and then someone else can make the food. So
Stay in your lane again, right? I mean, he never said he was a brewer. I mean, he likes brewing, but he's a business owner. He's a business manager.
Yeah.
He's also didn't set out to start a business that served people food. He wants to get them good juice, and if they want food, do what you want about food.
True.
Stick with what you're really good at. I like that. So if you've got a better food truck than the Wing Wagon,
yep.
you better get in front of David. Just a challenge, that's all.
Yeah, it's been a really nice partnership, and I think a couple years ago we installed a 50 amp RV plug. So got 50 amp power. You want 30 amp power. You want 40 amps, 220 amp kind of household plug style. Like whatever your power needs are, like we got that covered for you.
If you're passing through East Denver on your way to California
To the
in your
Grand Canyon,
in your
just
Winnebago, yeah, dude, just plug in. If there's not a food truck on the bill, just plug
shit.
in.
Yeah.
Is there a padlock on that outlet? Because otherwise,
it's indoors.
yeah, you're gonna see the
people
Good
breaking
Sam
through there.
stickers on a bunch of people's cars out front. Next thing you know,
Let me ask you before we get off here, what's your take on the future of breweries in this state or in this city? Is it going more this route where it's the local tap, it's the place where I can get a beer that just serves Comrade beer, or is it distribution, or is it a mix of both, I guess?
I think this industry is still ripe for whatever it is that you want to do. Like you want to go into open up a huge production facility and go into packaging. I think you could do that. If you want to just have a small little cozy neighborhood tap room, I think you can do that too. So I think anywhere in between that, I think it's the market's still good, and just kind of depends on what you want to do. And we just settled on we wanted to do a tap room, and that's what we want to do.
You say that you can do it, but what matters the most in this industry? Like, is it making a good beer?
I think gotta have the client base. So maybe being a little bit further out, you're not going to get somebody to maybe drive 5-10 miles to come all the way over there, and unless if you're like Weldworks or something like that, where you'll drive like an hour plus to make it up there. But I think just like kind of local. I think local is just like it's something that really resonates with everybody, and kind of want to support local business. You want to support your neighborhood, and this is where you live anyway. So kind of just go to those places.
what's your commute like into the office?
Oh, it's rough. I live in
You don't have to give us an address, but
I live by. I can walk to Hogshead. That's I've crawled home from Hogshead before. You have to take I-25. It's a mixed bag. 15 minutes to an hour, and
yeah, okay.
an hour and 5 is probably the longest I've had to do.
So I think what I'm hearing here is David has his own local watering hole,
Yeah.
but he's also the local watering hole. I was curious if you lived in the hood, right?
So there are these apartments. I lived behind the apartments. The apartments here right behind the brewery for 4 years.
Did you
Okay.
really? That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
There you go. See, I wondered.
It's kind of nice. 45-second commute. No
Yeah.
matter the weather. Just kind of walk.
I think
over.
I'm gonna drive today. It's a little rough outside.
So you guys have made it. I mean, I think Comrade has been here long enough to say, okay, the proof of concept is there. Aside from good beer, aside from community, aside from having a good beer brewing operation, or good brewmaster and everything, and some pretty badass hats, what gets you into that kind of what makes you a mainstay for the next 10 years? And you're like, what are you thinking in terms of long term, other than scaling? I know I asked about scaling, but like,
Good lease rates.
yeah.
Yeah, rent's kind of cheap out here.
Right,
So
right.
cheaper than other places. So
Any reason to get another spot?
We like asking this question.
well, as long as the numbers make sense, and the rent rates out there are kind of insane. So I haven't been looking, but just hearing what some of these new places are opening up at. It's hard for me to even justify thinking about it right now. So
What do we need to give you to go to Lubbock? Let's invest in the next Lubbock location. Right?
to Lubbock,
Yeah, let's go to
man,
Comrade.
I don't know. I spent way too long down there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go
Never
back
gonna go
for
back.
anything.
All right, David, thank you so much for having this interview with Jay and I. We appreciate it. Cheers, real
Cheers.
quick. There we go.
Yep.
David, the chillest guy in the industry in Denver so far, I
I
think.
would say so. And he
Yeah.
put us in this back corner where it's nice and cool for a reason.
Oh, dude.
We are literally chilling because that air conditioning vent is right overhead, and it's like just
It's so nice.
if you guys don't know, I mean, we're recording this right now. It's like 150 million degrees outside.
It is. I circled a lot for probably 3 laps to try to find a spot in the shade. And I found it. I may have a little trouble getting out, but I got it.
It's okay. Global warming's a Chinese hoax, so we're fine.
Oh, shit.
All right. Thanks, David. Take care, brother.
Cheers.
All right,
Thanks
cheers.
for having me on.
Seacrest out.